Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the movie review. And we're be reviewing for Halloween month. And as you can see, getting into the spirit of Halloween month, I decided to dress for this time. And obviously, people could tell what I'm wearing. Yep. So when I was planning on doing stuff for October, I thought I'd do something a little bit different, and went up for getting the spirit for Halloween and reviewing Halloween month films. I decided to get in the spirit of being Freddy Krueger. So yeah, and I figured for reviewing Halloween month, I shall wear this while reviewing stuff for Halloween month. So that's something different I haven't done. So what I announced what I was gonna do for what was gonna review for Halloween month. I said I was gonna review the Friday the 13th films, and it's kind of funny that dressing like Freddy Krueger, that I'm reviewing something that's about the franchise is about Jason. Because I actually plan on dressing up for Halloween, so that's the thing. But it's how the way it is, though. So yeah, so here it is, reviewing for the start of Halloween month is reviewing the Friday the 13th films, and starting off with the classic one, the first Friday the 13th film, released in 1980, and Friday the 13th is a classic horror film. It's been talked about so many times over the years. This will be these reviews will be a little more short, because who has not talked about all these films already that has been said, and just it's all the stories are just simple, for the whole franchise. It's just Jason been just killing people. That's basically what the whole story is for all these films. So there's really not much to get into. So, but for the first film, I do enjoy the film. It is definitely a classic. It's one of the most definitive films in slasher film history, and it's directed by Sean S. Cunningham, who he worked with Wes Craven on the original Last House on the Left, and after moving out of that, he wanted to make a film, because John Carpenter's Halloween was a huge hit, and he wanted to make something like inspired by John Carpenter's Halloween. He wanted to make something that we said was be shocking, and let's make you jump out of your seats, and more scarier. So, and you want to make it really like a roller coaster of a ride for the next slasher film. So, and also after this, he would in 1989 he would go on to direct Deep Star 6, which I love. Deep Star 6. That's an underrated creature feature film that I do enjoy. It gets hated on. I disagree with it. I enjoy Deep Star 6. I think Sean S. Cunningham did good with the film. But and then he and he had the original titles called Long Night at Camp Blood, because that's when the film is the character is referred to as Camp Blood, because it's the stuff that happened there. And then he had the script was written by a guy named Victor Miller, who was doing television stuff, and he wanted to be involved with this. So he said he'd make a serial killer who turned out to be somebody's mother, who had the motivation for the love for her child. That's basically what it is. And that's always over the years, people have always been has been mistaken. Who was the killer in the first Friday the 13th? A lot of people still say it was Jason, but it wasn't. Nowadays, it's still a misunderstanding to this day. It's not Jason Voorhees. So, but I'm saying a lot of people over the years have misread for the first film that it was not Jason. But still, and done with on a very minimum budget, under $1 million. And the film was released in the summer of 1980, and it was a hit. Made about $59 million. Definitely a huge hit. Like how same thing with John Carpenter's Halloween, minimum budget, like a shoestring budget, and huge hit box office wise. But unfortunately, the critics hated it a lot. Hated it so much. Even Gene Siskel, he called Sean S. Cunningham one of the most despicable creatures ever to infest the movie business. I like Gene Siskel and I like Roger Ebert. There are films I agree with, with them, and there's certain films I would disagree with them. And Gene Siskel, may rest in peace. Just calling someone very most despicable person ever to infest the movie business. And at one point, he even despised Betsy Palmer's as Mrs. Voorhees' performance. That he would give out her home address on his magazine and stuff. You shouldn't do that. Just because you can hate the movie though, but you just go. Betsy Palmer did what he had to do according to what the script and was told to act, and you really just go out and give out your home address, go and give someone else's home address, to protest or whatever, just that's just wrong, and you shouldn't do that. They were told what they were to do to act in the film, and even the film, it was nominated for the first Razzies ever, because the Golden Razzies were established in 1880. So, I think it was 1979, but the first nominations was in 1980. So it was nominated for Worst Picture and Worst Supporting Actress, Betsy Palmer, but it didn't win either though. It has a 59% Rotten Tomatoes and has a 6.59 IMDb. So it's one of the higher ratings ones of the series. But because of this, it spawned a whole successful franchise, and making Jason Voorhees one of the most iconic characters in horror history. So, yeah, even though critics did not like all the films, but there were hits though, and makes them. But it was thankful for creating one of the most classic horror icons ever made, though. So there's always some good out of something that's bad. So, and also, so Betsy Palmer plays Mrs. Voorhees. You have Adrienne King, who plays Alice. You have Harry Crosby. I believe he's the son of Bing Crosby. And which is funny. His character's name is Bill, because Bill. They think that's the name of Bing. I thought this was the first time that Bill was thought of way of Bing Crosby, but I guess not. But I thought that was the way how his character was like a name nod to that, though. But still. Anyway, then you have young Kevin Bacon in one of his earliest roles. It was nice to see him in a horror film like this. You have Walt Gorney in his little cameo appearance as Crazy Ralph. You're all doomed. You're all doomed. This place is a death curse. So. And you have some good special effects and makeup effects by Tom Savini, especially when on the young boy of Jason. And simple story is it shows a place like in 1958 where two counselors sneak away to have sex, but our killers point of view. It's a lot of times the shows are point of view. Kills them, and then it's to the present day on Friday the 13th, where you have this one of the woman's counselors, like she's one who's supposed to cook for them, named Annie, get a ride from a truck driver explaining about the Camp Blood, as what it's called, Camp Crystal Lake, and then and also they meet with the guy who talked. The Crazy Ralph comes in saying, it's a death curse. And even after being dropped off halfway from the truck driver, when she's walking, she sees later on a oncoming Jeep. She gets a ride in that, but you see the person's point of view on her as they drive past Camp Crystal Lake. Let me out, And she runs to the woods, then she stops, she falls down, then gets her throat cut. And with all the other counselors there, trying to get the place to try to reopen Camp Crystal Lake again. And just one by one throughout the whole film, each one gets to get killed slowly. One by one, you have this instance where there's this one guy who's like the Joker of the group. He sees someone. He walks into the one of the houses or the cabins, but he gets killed off screen. But later, you find his body with Kevin Bacon and the other girl making out, but they're on a bunk bed, and the camera pans onto the upper bunk bed, and you found the guy's throat's been slit. And with the other camp counselors, like one of the other counselors, well, one of the most memorable scenes in the death scenes of the film is Kevin Bacon, where his girl goes off to use the toilet. He gets something drip on his head, and he looks up. Then, whoever knew, we know who does the killing. It's Mrs. Voorhees. She grabs him by the head and puts an arrow right through his neck, blood spurting out. Or with his girl, after on the toilet, she sees something on the shower curtains. So she moves them, gets an axe to the head. Good effect of the axe right here. And with Alice and the other two councils, like with one of the other girls, like she's getting ready for bed, but it's pouring down rain. She hears something. She goes into the archery range. The lights turns on. Then she gets killed off screen. And with the boss, by the name of Steve, who runs the place, he was back in town at the diner. And you drive in. His Jeep breaks down. And he gets a ride from the sheriff, and he drops him off halfway point as he walks with the Camp Crystal Lake sign there. A light flashes in his face, like, "Oh hi, what are you doing out in this mist?" Then, as he walks towards, he gets like, he's been stabbed right here. And then with Alice and Bill, as Bill stays around checking the generator and stuff, and Alice, she's out there waiting. She goes back, and then when she pushes, she finds his raincoat. But then when she closes the door, the guy's been stabbed with arrows, and he's stuck to the door. She runs away, and then the body of the girl from the archery range gets thrown through the window. And then when a vehicle pulls up, and it's Mrs. Voorhees. Now, which is kind of funny is that it's kind of funny that there's no red herrings in this, because Prom the thing was also released in 1980. They did the red herrings anyone who's a suspect, anyone could have been the killer. Which is funny is that everyone else is dead, but when a person who we've seen for the first time, introduces herself, "I'm Mrs. Voorhees," you can automatically guess that she's the one who did, though. Even though we all kind of established he is, though, but it's the whole concept a new person just comes in, introduces themselves. Kind of feel like I think that's the person who's doing the killing. So I find that kind of funny though. But Mrs. Voorhees, she says, "Oh, let's take a look," and she explains that the young boy drowned, and that was her son Jason. And then she starts going batshit crazy, starts attacking Alice, fighting her. And one instance where Betsy Palmer, she gets Adrienne King, kind of like just like bitch slaps her around like this and throws her. Like, ah! That's funny the way she screams, like, ah! And then ultimately leads to the point where, even just after this scene, before this scene, but she keeps on talking to herself, like Jason's speaking to her, like, kill her, mommy, kill her, kill her, mommy. Which, of course, you get to the fact where Harry Manfredini's score, the classic, iconic Friday the 13th theme, which symbolizes the kill, mommy, kill, whatever, mommy. That's what it means. What Betsy Palmer's been saying, and just like, she's a little bit crazy, But even the classic Harry Manfredini score is an iconic score. The classic dun 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 dun. And then it gets to the point where Adrienne King beheads Mrs. Voorhees. She cuts her head with a machete. And then she gets on the canoe on the lake, and then she wakes up in the morning, there's a cop there, and then you have young Jason deformed, good makeup effects by Tom Savini, drags her down, but it's only a dream sequence where she wakes up in the hospital saying, all of her friends are dead, but the boy, where's the boy? And the cop's like, there is no boy. Unless he's still out there. So yeah, what more I can say about Friday the 13th? It's very simple. It's not too much to go on about, because it's very straightforward. And if you can hear, this whole thing is the inside is broken. The little holster thing, the little button clicks to hold the DVD in, one thing is broken, and the other half is missing. So it's here kind of rattle inside. So, but I do enjoy it. I know this is definitely a classic in the franchise. Especially for the slasher film, it's definitely a classic, and it's left an impact on the horror genre. It's 95 minutes, so it's very fast paced. It's easily fast paced. The characters, I like the characters. They all did fine. Betsy Palmer, I enjoyed her. Adrienne King, same her. She did absolutely fine. It's nice to see Kevin Bacon in one of his earlier roles before doing Footloose and Tremors. So, and good directing by Sean Cunningham and well written by Victor Miller. And I also get all the hate that the critics get, especially with Gene Siskel. I think what Gene Siskel was saying, I think he went a little bit too far. You could say, okay, I don't like this director. If you don't call him like the most despicable person ever on the movie business and stuff like that, or trying to give out Betsy Palmer's address, that's just going a little bit too far. I would, you can say you like on the movie, the him talking with Roger Ebert, talking about what they discuss about the movies. They just don't go a little bit too far and overboard about stuff like that, though. So yeah, what Gene Siskel was saying he went a little bit overboard with that, a little bit too far on that. But yeah. So that's my review for the first Friday 13th. What more I could say? Everyone has talked about all the films, so it's definitely a classic. I definitely do enjoy it. So it's definitely much shorter than it is. These didn't need to go along because they're too straightforward to be. Because everyone's talked about them. So yeah, that's my review on the first Friday 13th. Well, I could do it like this, but trying to give it a thumbs up though, like this though, but and good way to start the Halloween month. And next up we'll be moving on to part 2. So yeah, definitely a classic, and it was definitely well written and good directed by Sean S. Cunningham. and definitely the score by Harry Manfredini. Great score. Definitely a classic, iconic score, I would say. So yeah, but thanks for watching, and stay tuned on part 2 of Friday the 13th, part 2 later.